Hello, everyone. It's episode 65 of the Fitness Business Growth Podcast. I only bring back very special guests for a second episode. I got my friend and a previous mentor, Iggy. How are you, mate?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good.
Mate, last time we recorded, I was on Zoom, no microphone, no headphones. I looked at your setup and I was embarrassed, like literally embarrassed. I was like, I've got to fix this.
You leveled up, man. It looks good.
Yeah.
It looks very good.
Yeah, but my ADHD brain went down the rabbit hole of 4K, Sigma lenses, blurry background, microphone Samson versus Shure MV7. I just opened my world to this media thing that I had no idea about.
100%. You can go down a rabbit hole. So I try to keep it. I'm like, how much do I need to just produce the best quality content with the least amount of friction?
Mate, there's something very beautiful about just starting a podcast with no tech, and then every episode reward yourself with one more thing, and then before you know it, you got a full pro setup.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So, mate, I'd love to reintroduce you to our audience, which has grown the last 6 months quite significantly. So the award behind you, if you just move your head to the left a little bit, all right, is a ClickFunnels 2CC. Is it 2XXC or 2CCX award? I get confused.
2CCX.
2CCX, which is an award for generating over $10 million in online fitness brands. I joined a mastermind with Iggy about 5 years ago. Iggy has grown how many multiple six-figure companies, Iggy? How many multiple seven-figure and how many eight figures?
We've grown over 100 six-figure online fitness businesses, about 25 seven-figure online fitness businesses, and year to date, about 5 eight-figure online fitness businesses.
So what you're saying is that there is a repeatable process that you take people through to generate those results.
Yeah, it's pretty turnkey, and it's
That's going to irritate so many people that have been trying to crack this for 10 years. Oh, just turnkey.
Yeah, it's pretty turnkey. I mean, the hardest thing that you have to pay down is the ignorance tax for not knowing how to get there. But once you know how to get there, it's the same way getting in shape. Once you're like cross that chasm of getting in shape and knowing what to do to get there, it's a lot easier to stay in shape than it is to like lose the weight and get back into shape.
One of my biggest regrets, Iggy, is I was quite an egotistical young man, and I had mastered the brick and mortar location. And if I knew now in 2015, I reached out to you earlier, or AG or AP or a mentor, my online business would have been an eight-figure one too. Because like even back then, it was so much easier than it is today.
Yep. The marketplace now is like, it is ruthless. It is ruthless, but I like how ruthless it is and how competitive it is, because it just means you just have to be better, right? You have to be so much better to get ahead, and it's chewing up and spitting out those who don't cut it.
I think, just my opinion, please correct me if you think I'm wrong, I think brand is just more important than ever before. So like before, it was enough to slap up an ad, click, learn more, book in a call, sell someone. They are going to research you. Like they are going to go on your Instagram profile and scroll down and look, like literally look for the reason not to purchase.
Yep. You got to be more mindful of what you put out. And even before it became a thing, one of the things that we do is we talk about how important, like, you need your naming convention and how important it is to set up your brand properly, so that when somebody clicks on your stuff for the first time, they instantly build trust, right? And they build like a level of familiarity that, okay, I feel like these guys know what they're doing. And then the 100%. Deeper they go into you, the more they research you, the more you're reconfirming that initial feeling of affirmation that you gave them.
I'm sure you've seen this offer, Iggy. Every single person in Australia is doing, attention coaches, I'll get you 30 appointments guaranteed, done for you, or you don't pay.
Man, you got to thank Cole Gordon for that. Like,
yeah. But if you have that offer out there, it smells like BS. It probably is BS. But if someone was to go to your IG or your Facebook or your YouTube and think, hey, this guy clearly knows what he's talking about, maybe he can get me 30 appointments or I don't pay.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like, when everyone is just copying the same offer, right, then what is going to allow you to stand apart is really going to be the depth that you can talk about something and the breadth of knowledge that you can communicate to the point where somebody consumes your stuff and they're like, I feel like this person could probably help me. They might know what they're talking about because of how in depth they can go into this particular
Yeah.
subject.
It's the nuance of being a gym owner for me. Like, I know that there's a member at 6 a.m. who's complaining about the music. I know that. And I would know that because I've run those sessions with Karen complaining about that rap song with one swear word out of a playlist of 50 songs.
Yep. So it's the nuance that sets you apart, right? And that's where I love that there's so many $100 million offers now, right? Because there's a lot of $100 million offers, but not $100 million like professionals who actually
Delivery. $100
who
million delivery.
exactly who've done the thing. So
Mate,
what
it's no,
happens?
yeah, it's no secret, mate, that Alex Hermosi is my Lord and Savior. I literally duplicated Gym Launch. People say they're like Alex Hermosi. I might have the #1 claim to fame, mate.
Yeah,
I tried to do the exact same thing.
you got
That's how
the
much.
original gym launch model to work. Like I still
Yeah.
love your model to this day.
What made me laugh, mate? I had a client I sold off about a month ago. He's like, "Yeah, it takes about 10 days to launch your gym." He's like, "Come on, mate. You've copied Gym Launch. Do you have to say launch your gym?" Fair enough. I could change that terminology.
Yeah. But why? You know, I mean, that's exactly what you're doing. You're launching their campaigns and getting them up and running.
Yeah.
But
Well, mate, I'd love to get into today's topic, and I think it's a really important one based off the discussion we had just then. So, second half of the podcast is going to be the roadblock that I came into with an online business, appointment setting, getting
Mhm.
people to book it, and how Charlie AI can help. But period, point blank, Iggy, you're starting a fitness brand today. No clients, no awareness, no one knows that you exist. What is a detailed overview of what is step 1, what is step 2, what is step 3, what is step 4, what is step 5? And we can just go through the booking funnel and just really break it down for people.
Yeah. Now, if I'm starting the fitness business, am I optimizing it to make as much money out the gate as possible? Or am I optimizing it for comfort and lifestyle?
Man, that's a great question.
You know,
That is such
so
a great question.
I mean, how you answer that really determines how essentially what the step by step game plan will look like. You know,
So I'm going to assume that most people don't want to earn 10 million US dollars. So let's go. How can someone get to 6 figures, which you've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times with clients? We're talking a nice 50 client business, charging $100 a week, 40% margins, laptop lifestyle that everyone really tries to sell you.
yeah. I mean, so the way that I would go about doing that if I'm starting from scratch. One, I was trying to think through who are the people that I can resonate with the most, right? This is going to really be about putting yourself out there and figuring out a problem that you are uniquely really qualified to solve, or a problem that you've experienced yourself that you can market and build an entire brand around. Or you have a client that you love working with, you just have a knack for solving these types of problems and you really enjoy working with these types of clients, and then you build a brand around that. Right. So you got to figure out like what is the problem that you want to solve? Who do you want to solve it for? And I do a lot of research, right? So I'll spend a few weeks going online and just doing some research on like who these avatar are, right? And how can I serve them, and what are the problems, what are they purchasing, what are their struggles? And then I would launch with ads. All right. I've
Okay.
never successfully launched an online fitness brand organically. Like I just refuse to do that. You know,
So I
like
just want to expand. I just want to expand in regards to who resonates, your avatar, effectively your niche.
yep.
So you having a very athletic background, when you first started Try 180 coaching, who did you choose? And would that be the same person today? Or maybe because you're now a dad, would you go after a different crowd? Like, what avatar would you choose today, given, let's say that you've done the research?
Yeah. I would choose somebody when I launched Try 180 coaching, I launched it targeting busy professionals. Right. And the reason why I wouldn't target athletes, because athletes have coaches and have access to people who are really, really good at what they do. You can target former athletes, but even then, for me, I didn't really identify as a former athlete. I identified as a professional, right? Because I got injured and had to take an academic scholarship and become a true professional and start working And I experienced what it was like to just be stuck in that 9 to 5 grind and not really have a ton of time to take care of myself. Right. And that's where my 180 method came, developing that so I could speak to the challenges of that. I let myself go, started feeling super insecure. And I looked at myself in the mirror and saw a picture that was taken at a photo shoot one day, and I was just disgusted at myself. All right. So I would target the type of person that I could speak to. Right. So my avatar would still be a busy professional, somebody who's a high performer, but it'd be somebody who doesn't take any shit. Right. They're like they resonate with that blunt and direct type of communication style. Because that's how I launched that brand. It was just like, hey, if you're a busy professional and you're too busy and you understand the importance of direct communication, I'm just going to tell you, like, it's time for you to get your fat ass in shape. This is what I put together, and this program is designed to help you become the best version of you.
So effectively, you helped yourself from 6 months ago when you saw that picture and you pulled yourself out of that hole. And for me, Iggy, that's so powerful because you've just gone through that journey. Going back to nuance, you know how they're feeling. You know that they've got a quick lunch break. You know that they're probably busy at home. So I love that so much. Like, help you from 6 or 12 months ago.
Yep, 100%. And that's how I would essentially start. And I would design. Once I honed in on who I wanted to solve, I would hone in on the specific problem that they believe they had, and the problem that they believe needs to be solved.
And
Right.
what was that problem? What did you identify in that person?
I felt like I had a slow metabolism. Right. Is that technically correct? Hell no. There's no such thing as a real slow metabolism. Like anyone who's a real professional, like, knows that. Right.
Mm.
But the people that you want to work with don't know that.
I
Right.
love that. I'm just going to jump in there. You have to meet people where they're at and you have to use terminology that they understand. Give people what they want. And then once they're on the inside, as you said, get your fat ass in the gym. It's not your metabolism.
Exactly. You got to meet them where they're at and speak to them using their language. So I would figure out who I want to serve and how are they describing the problem that they have that I want to solve for them. And then design everything from the brand, from the naming convention, from the copy, from the messages, from the messaging process. Everything is going to be designed around speaking to that one person about that one problem. All the stuff on the back end, like the way that I design my scripts, the copy that I use on the landing page, the email follow-up sequences that I share, even the video on the page, the confirmation, like everything is going to be designed to create an environment where this person goes through the entire process, and every single step of the way, I'm reinforcing that I know more about their problem than they do, which is going to unconsciously, like subconsciously, get them to think like, wow, if he knows more about my problem, he's able to describe like my pain and my inmost insecurities with such vivid details. He probably knows the solution, because how else can he describe the problem in such great detail? Right.
Yeah, lots of gym owners, mate, I speak to. Like when you made that video, Jamie, it feels like you were talking to me
Exactly.
because I am talking to you. I know what you're going through.
Yeah.
I know that people want to schedule calls when you're in the gym and it's very frustrating that you can't do it.
And if you can speak to that problem and you can describe that pain in greater detail than they can describe it themselves, you've got them hooked. Right.
Yeah, I love that so much. But back to brand nuance resonating, help you of 6 months ago and literally detail what you were going through, what you felt, the problems that you thought were popping up, and go into more detail. And something else which is so important, which I love, is every step of the process from the page name to the ad to the funnel to the email to the copy is communicating to that person like, hey, I am the expert, I am the authority at solving this one problem. And it's like a fucking drag race. Like they
Yep.
are looking for an exit ramp. And if there is a little pebble on the road, that car will crash and burn. Anything in your messaging that is off brand, that person will opt off the page.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I want to communicate in a way where somebody who I'm solving the problem for is going to resonate with my values and resonate with the way, like my personality, right? A lot of people don't really embrace like their quirks, right? But the fact that I would communicate in my videos and be super blunt and almost harsh with how I talked, the type A personality who was a busy professional who just didn't have time for fluff really resonated with how I communicate with my message, to the point where they would just come in and it would offend people. And those who were my people bought and they loved everything
Mm.
about the program and got better results.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. So my business partner Mitch, he is the complete opposite of me. I'm like direct. I'll tell you exactly how it is, and he's like he's the softer one on the inside. And we literally have calls like, "Wow, you're so different to Jamie." Like he just told me exactly what I didn't want to hear. But like it comes from a good place. Like
Yeah.
it
100%.
genuinely comes from a good place. And like I hate smacking people around, but sometimes they're like, "Oh, I'm just not sure if this is right for me." I'm like, "Mate, you got 30 members. You don't know what's right for you. Like
Yeah.
you actually don't know."
People need that, and people recognize, especially when they're in pain and they need help, you having the confidence to give them the truth and give it to them straight gives them a completely different experience than they initially expected, right? They're expecting
Yeah.
to be sold, not transformed,
And
right?
it goes back to like having the nuance, having the conviction of like, I've just solved this problem for my gyms. You've just lost that weight. You can solve that problem for that busy professional.
Yeah,
This is just the truth. Like, this is literally what happened. And it's one of my favorite things. You state the facts, tell the truth.
100%.
And like, no one can question that.
Yeah. And so when like the constant feedback that I would get when I got on a after a sales call with somebody, even if they didn't buy, they're like, this is the most incredible experience that I've ever had. And I would get referrals off people who didn't buy. And we still experience that to this day in every single business that I've been fortunate enough to run. Even people who jump on a demo call who don't move forward with Charlie are like, this is so helpful. I know like two other people who could use this. And then they would make
Mm,
introductions,
yeah.
and that's the power of having a real process that thinks about your ideal avatar and designs it in a way where you're creating a real transformational experience for them.
So we've got the perfect person. We've identified it. They have a problem. You can solve that pain. You mentioned something near and dear to my heart. You always launch with ads. You've never ever launched with organic. Can you expand on that? Because obviously both work. One works a lot better in my opinion, but one's slow and tiring and not repeatable, and it's hard to systemize. And if you're begging people in the DMs, what type of people are you getting on calls?
Yeah. I love paid ads because I can target my people, right? And paid ads work if you work it, right? So every opportunity that I get to get in front of people, if you've never ran paid ads before, your expectations have to be managed, right? Make sure you're working, you're keeping your day job, you save enough money to be able to light $3,000 on fire to invest into gathering data, right? When you're launching ads for the first time, you're in data acquisition, you're in information gathering, right? And if you approach it from that frame where you're finding out what works, what gets the right people coming into your world, and how can you communicate with them in a way to get them on the phone and eventually get them to buy, now you're creating a repeatable process and you're getting the feedback loop that you need to optimize till the point where you eventually start making sales. Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I love ads. Like it's
Yeah.
a feedback loop.
What you said then is so important about managing expectations. So in Australia, Iggy, we love expensive coffee. Australian coffee is probably the best in the world. But I explained to online coaches that come into my world, those machines that you see in that coffee shop, they're $100,000. And you're worried about lighting 3K on fire. You call yourself a business owner. That coffee shop owner is a business owner. They've invested money to create this business to generate income,
Yeah.
and they just don't treat it like a real business. And if you have that mindset, like, hey, like there is a real chance I can lose here, but that's okay because I'm gathering data.
Yeah. And you're not with ads, you're not losing money, right? You're investing into an asset that's going to pay you for years to come. All right. We still make a ton of money off assets that we built earlier on in the process. All right. So that's how I look at it. You're gathering information, but you're building your digital assets. All right.
I spoke to AG probably about 3 months ago, and I was fortunate enough he shared his ad account with me, and I was like, "Whoa, like you test that much?"
Yep.
And since then, I test a new campaign every single day, like every day, 7 days a week, and I lose far more than I win. But in that testing process, there's a few winners and there's a few similarities between all the winners. And now I just duplicate those winners across the different niches. And I've got that data. I've
Yep.
got the data. And I'm going to use that data for the rest of my life. And no one else has that information.
Yep. All you need is you just need one ad to convert really well. Right. And that's going to be enough to really start to cover all the quote unquote losses from your previous test. And then your next series, because you have one that works really well, you're able to test and build a winning campaign with a higher degree of accuracy. And then once you get to a point where you have 4, 5, 7, 8, 10 winning campaigns, like you're printing clients, right? It's a numbers game at that point. And then you got to optimize your operations and things like that. So for me, if I'm just trying to make $100,000, I'm just trying to get as many people on the phone as possible and then figuring out how much can I sell on the front end that's going to allow me to get to 100K with the least amount of clients, right? From
Okay.
cold. So I test the price point on those calls.
So we launch with paid ads. They click learn more. They go to a landing page. They book in a phone call. And then one of the biggest things I got from you guys in particular, I use in all of our done for you accounts, is that thank you page or the transfer of trust page is an absolute masterpiece. And going back to standing out in 2024, if you have this masterpiece of a thank you page, transfer a trust page, where it's a video, thanks for booking a phone call, testimonials, your hero story, your journey, like it just works so well.
Yep.
And
It's
just,
surprising how many people still haven't really connected the dots on that.
oh man, like when I funnel hack everyone, and like I cannot believe some of the shit the big franchises are doing still, where there is no call to action at the end of the lead form, there is no booking a call, there is no thank you page, there is no
Yep.
nurture sequence which sends them reviews. Like it is staggering. And I say this all the time, Iggy, like when you have a brick and mortar business, you don't need to build trust. It's like click the ad, call them, get them booked in.
Yeah.
And these online fitness businesses have to go above and beyond to build that trust.
Yep.
However, what if you use the same marketing and sales that an 8-figure online business does, and then put it with the trust of a brick and mortar business? And that's when you get those outsized returns.
It's
Like
disgusting.
it makes me so mad. Like the best business owners are online fit pros because it's so hard to get the marketing, to get the systems, to get the landing pages, to get the calls, to get the onboarding, to get the delivery done.
Yeah.
Just copy and paste that into a brick and mortar business.
Yep. And I don't think a lot of people really understand that. They chase the online space thinking to be easier. But it's not. You know, it's difficult. You have to be really good at a lot of things to get an online fitness business off the ground. All right. Like even what we discussed, like you got to be good at positioning. You got to be good at really understanding your avatar. You got to be good at clarifying your messaging. And then you got to be good at closing and communicating to them over the phone. And then you got to make sure you can deliver your service to them. So there's a lot of like mini skill sets that stack on top of each other that makes up a really successful online business in general. But even more so in the online fitness space, like you have to kind of have those things dialed in. And that's why people get away with organic, is because organic doesn't require as much skill sets, right? You can burn you can put in sweat equity versus capital, right? Whereas like the way that I like to launch it, I'd rather spend my money, my time during the day making money, and then putting that money into ads, because once you get one winning ad, you have the ability to do 6 figures and beyond.
Yeah. it's one of the most profound things I've ever heard. And it was from AG in Systems by Design. It was something to the effect of what you just said then. It was like you can spend an hour sending DMs, or you can spend an hour on the floor doing a PT session, getting better at the craft of training people, making $100 an hour, and put those $10 out of the 100 into ads.
Yep.
Or you can just send those DMs. Right. So I'm with you. It's interesting too, because like it's the classic saying, oh, it's nice for you to say that you've got money. No, like I didn't have money when I started. Like I put money aside, and as you said, I was willing to set it on fire the same way you do when you put money into sports bet. But
Yep.
don't tell me you haven't got $10 spent on ads.
People are spending the money already, and it's just a matter of priority. How bad do you want this thing? And without fail, every client who has really been successful, was successful through Systems by Design, really wanted it, and they were willing to put in the work. Right. And they're willing to, despite how they felt in the moment, they were willing to persevere and just put in the work. Right. You have to be willing to feel stupid as you're implementing something new and acquiring new skills. And most people aren't willing to do that.
Yeah. One of the best feelings I've ever had, and I hope every fitness pro experiences it, is when you go to bed and you wake up with an automated booking that's filled out an application form and has responded to you. So excited for the call today.
Yep.
And that is literally the power of ads. Like to be able to just like go to bed, wake up with a full calendar is just it's mind blowing once you see it.
Yeah. Because you're getting, and the reason why I like ads is you're getting people who've expressed interest. You're the prize. You're not chasing people down. People are chasing you down to learn more about what you do. Right. And it's just a completely different position to be able to operate your business from. Right. I'm not
100%.
chasing fat people on Instagram and sending DMs out to them. People who found me are reaching out to me to get more information about my program and what we do. Right.
So Iggy, the problem that every online fit pro runs into is effectively what Charlie AI or coaches, consultants run into is effectively what Charlie AI does. And it gets to the point that if your ads are performing really well and you dial up the ad spend, you're getting more inquiries, there is more leakage because people that don't book in, are you calling them? Are you texting them? Are you emailing them? And typically you have to get a VA.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I am fortunate. I've got a few assassins on my team, but I've also had a few that weren't assassins.
Yeah.
And I'd love to understand how you came up with Charlie AI. Why is it different to a typical booking bot? And how far has it come since you've launched this business? And what have you seen?
I mean, a lot has changed as far as Charlie goes. The main value proposition, as far as like what we solve, is if you have like, especially for a fitness business, right? DM setting is king for a fitness business. And we at one point had a pretty big team of VAs that was just, it was just very difficult to manage and required a lot of like QAing and vetting and training and sourcing, and just like repeating that process over again every single time you want to ramp up your lead volume. Right. So for me, I wanted to have a way to essentially scale our sales appointments without having to scale the number of like DM setters we needed. All
So
right. So,
just to confirm for the audience, to make things simple, you're running an ad, 26-week online weight loss challenge. Click send message for more information. They end up in your inbox, and that's where you would have a team of VAs
yep.
reply to that person and get them booked in for an appointment. And you just continue to find like errors in that system, and it was just a lot of effort.
Yeah. Errors in the system. People will forget to message people in a timely manner because they were busy actively messaging people who were engaging in a conversation with them. Right. So there's only so much bandwidth people have, right? Where as we start going in, we just see hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of opportunities just missed, right? Not because they were lazy or anything like that, just because they were tapped, like they
Yeah,
reached
it's just
their
yeah.
capacity.
Humans are humans. We forget stuff. We have bad days. We're
Yeah.
tired. We're exhausted. Just it's not realistic to think they're gonna get hit everyone.
Yeah. Follow-ups will be missed. People will respond, and those will be missed. So having, for me, I wanted to have a way to kind of be able to fill in those gaps so that we didn't have to hire so many VAs. So we tried our first stab was at mini chat, and we built the most complex, the most disgustingly like intricate mini chat flow you've ever seen in your life.
So just to expand, Iggy, I'd love you to get into more detail in regards to ManyChat is, because I've used it quite a bit, but I don't think most like brick and mortar fit pros would have.
Yeah, if you're a brick and mortar fit pro, you don't need to really understand mini chat. It's just like a chat automation platform um, that allows you to kind of like send automated responses to people when they're coming into your business. And it's limited, because it's automation, it's not intelligent. So if somebody sent a response that didn't meet the frame, it break. And that's what we
So
want to do.
that's interesting, right? Because most people use high level, right?
Yep.
And they'll ask you, I'm sure, what is the difference between high level automation and then what is the difference between Charlie? And what you said then is exactly it. It's automation versus intelligence.
Yep. Whereas like with Charlie, you can give it your messaging script, you can update some of your knowledge base, give it information about your business, and then even give it information on how to handle objections, and then let it loose, right? And just watch it just work and respond to every single lead, and remember who they are, and remember to follow up with them as soon as they stop responding. And it can do it on an infinite scale.
So
Right.
just to a real life example, like we generate 100 leads, 10 auto book on a phone call. So it's the other 90 that we're talking about. So
Yep.
Charlie will engage with those 90 leads. High contact first name, it's Iggy from Try 180. What is your goal? Question mark.
Yep.
Right. That's something that an automation can do. But then the person responds, I want to lose 10 kilos to get ready for my wedding. What would Charlie do to that response?
Yeah, and then Charlie was like, awesome, trying to lose 10 kilos for your wedding, that's a big deal. What have you been struggling with in trying to get to your goal? Right. And it would,
I've tried. I've been to 24-hour gyms. There's no accountability, which is why I think I need an online coach. Can you help me with that?
yeah, absolutely. Sorry to hear that you've tried going to 24-hour fitness and you
Mate,
haven't been able
Charlie's
to.
got more empathy than me.
Yeah. So it's gonna engage in real life conversation with the prospect. And I mean, I'll send you some examples of like conversations that it's having that are just
How
mind
is
blowing.
how is that even possible? Like what is that? Like obviously we've heard of Chat GPT, but what is how does it do it?
Yeah. So
how does that even work?
there are four pillars that makes Charlie's conversational aspect really unique from anything else. Right? It's natural language processing, which ChatGPT has, and a lot of chatbots have, like AI chatbots have. But it's the natural language understanding and then the deep learning where it's getting better and better and better and smarter with more interaction that it's having.
So
Right.
just to confirm, if someone asks a question, I'm getting ready for my wedding to lose 10 kilos, Charlie's first experience with that lead, it learns from that experience. Next time it's asked that question, it will respond differently.
Yep. And it's responding in a way where it becomes more natural, it becomes more conversational, it becomes more engaging, and it can even tell you now like why it gave the response that it gave, right? And it can explain its reasoning to you as a user on the back end, right? So now like when you look at a conversation, Charlie can explain why it sent this message, and as you're reading the explanation, you're like, that makes total sense. I would have said the same thing. In fact, you handle that conversation better than I would have.
So when
Yeah.
it gives you the explanation of I sent this message for X reason, is it based off the likelihood of them going to respond? Does it pull data from other messages? Like how do you track success? Is it number of leads booked in? Is it based on response rate? How does the AI learn and get better at that process?
So it's tracking it, the hierarchy of data, right? It's lead to book ratio, right? Lead
Okay.
to CTA is what we call it in our platform, right? Before you get to the lead to CTA, we optimize the response rate, right? So we have to make sure we're sending a message that people are going to respond to. And then the second KPI we want to optimize to, once it starts getting a good response rate, is your response to book ratio, your response to CTA. Then that gets optimized. Once those two metrics are dialed in, then it's optimizing for total lead to CTA, right?
Mm.
We have like an online fitness business now that's generated over 1,000 leads in last month, and Charlie booked 56% of those leads in for a call.
That's staggering because I have the stats on many businesses.
Exactly. It's
So,
ridiculous.
just to confirm, 1,000 leads, 560 bookings, and just I'm trying to get my head around it. Sorry, like so the owner didn't send one message. There was no VA. Like
No
chart.
VA, no messaging sent whatsoever. Um, their entire, I mean, they have VAs doing outbound now, where they
Okay.
like their VA team and they just wanted them to be lead getters instead of DM setters. So now their VA's salary is just ad spend, going out and getting versus managing the leads that they've already spent money generating.
And those 560 bookings, right? Like, so you get that data, you think, wow, that's staggering. Like 20% booking rate's pretty good. And then, like, how does the person manage Charlie? Let's say Charlie is underperforming. How does the owner step in? Or if Charlie's performing, do you just crank it up? Do you run more ads, get more leads? Like, what would your process be in that situation or those situations? Sorry.
Yeah, so if it's underperforming, every one of our clients gets access to an account manager who can go in and check their stats, right? And so they're checking the stats, and Charlie's letting us know weekly how it's doing, right? And so we get an alert on that account, and then they'll go in and they'll look at the data. So the beautiful thing about having AI is that it reports on every single message that it sends. Every single message that it sends is generated a report on. So we can look at its performance stats, and I can see the response rate on the first message, the second message, the third message, the fourth message, and we can find those gaps very quickly and then change any message in that process that causes a gap.
So let's say you have a KPI of you want a 50% response rate, and message one is getting 60%, so thumbs up, don't change it. But the message two is getting a 30%. You would look at the data, okay, there's something that's in that message that isn't resonating. And then how would you feed the AI to change that message? Or would you give it an example? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, you would just go in and give it a different example that it can send, and then it will send a different message, right, in real time. And then when you look at the comparison, you can compare the results from the previous week to the current week that you wanted, where you made that change. So it acts as kind of like your ability to kind of split test your DM script, right?
Okay.
So
So
you
just
can
like
look at
ManyChat, it's just like ManyChat, we can have two flows at the start. You can actually split test what's the better click-through rate or what's the better response rate.
Yep. So you can essentially optimize your messaging script in real time, right?
Yeah, far out.
Intelligently, and then from there, it's able to generate unique responses. If somebody gives it an objection, it can process multiple messages, and then it'll give you a reason as to why it sent the message that it did. And if you're not happy with the logic, you can just go in the back end and tweak it.
So can I get an example? Send a message. We'll stay on the example. Wedding, 10 kilos to look pretty in a photo at my son's wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And Charlie sends a message saying, that's great. You should look good at your son's wedding. You're like, that's a little bit weird. like, would you look at the reasoning? And then what would the reasoning be for that?
I'll give you an example, a real life example that we just got recently. It's from it's not fitness related, but I think it's gonna be very, very applicable as far as like the reasoning. So here's an example. So this is a car company that's using Charlie to book qualified leads with people who have good credit who are interested in the vehicle. Right.
Okay.
So this person, Charlie's like, hey, my name is Lisa from Alberta Car Guys, from the Alberta Car Guys customer service. Thanks for reaching out to get started. I just wanted to ask you, what got you looking into getting a vehicle today? And then the lead was like, I'm looking to get away from public transportation. And then Charlie's like, gotcha. Ditching the bus life, huh? Question mark with an emoji. Any particular ride you're looking to get your eye to get on? Any particular ride you've got your eyes on, or a type of vehicle you're leaning towards? Question mark.
That's in, mate. I need to get Charlie to plug into my Tinder from 10 years ago. It's got more game. It's got more game than me.
And then the explanation for why I sent the message, it said the user indicated a desire to move away from public transportation, which opens the door to discussing vehicle preferences as required by my objective. The response acknowledges their situation with a lighthearted comment about public transportation, then directly asks if they have a specific vehicle in mind, using casual language to keep the conversation friendly and engaging.
Far out. How's it like? So, like, how does it do that? Like
It's
what?
so
Like, obviously,
damn good.
you've got the four principles behind the AI, but like, what is that? Like, how? Like, it's just it's actually unbelievable.
That's a deep learning where we've done a lot of work in upgrading the brain of Charlie and giving it the ability to reason autonomously. Right? It's not going to go rogue. There's lots of safeguards behind the scenes to ensure that it stays focused on your account and it's only being trained on your data. And that's the difference between like Charlie and GPT and a lot of these other chatbots, is they're being trained on so many different things that's not specific to your business. Whereas like Charlie's only being trained on your business, and it's learning to reason based on the information that you're giving it about your business and on the guidelines that you've given it on your messaging script. Right? So you give it your messaging script and then you tell it why you're asking this question. Right? So here's the intro, right? Here's why I'm asking this, why I'm introducing ourselves like this. Here's the second question that I want to ask. Here's the objective behind this question.
Yeah.
Right?
So for example, I've asked this question to show my expertise that I've been a gym owner for 9 years, and I want the prospect to feel that level of authenticity. And Charlie can learn that. And then
Yep.
the next time that question comes up, he will say, "Hey, I've been a gym owner for 9 years."
Yep. So not only does it have the context on your business, but then you can give it the reason behind it. And then they can use your logic and your reasoning to generate its own unique responses and then tell you its reasoning for sending that response in real time. Right. So then you can essentially look at it and be like, okay, does this match the reason why I want to ask this question? You're like, wow, that actually like perfectly aligns. And the response that it generates is even better than you imagined. And you're like, I'm reading that response and I'm like, that's so damn good. Like,
Yeah. All right.
you know?
So it's also, I think it's going to be hard for some of our audience to think, well, why would I need a booking bot when I generate 10 leads a week? But at scale, you're generating hundreds and thousands of leads a week. So we generate over 2,000 leads for the gyms that we work with. It's a lot of leads.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure there is some leakage in there somewhere. And we do our best to clean it up. But there's something about having someone that works 24/7, 365 that doesn't take sick days.
Yeah. And then the thing about it is it's following up into like relentlessly, you know, where it's
So you
very,
said something before we started recording. What was it? Persistent but professional.
it's like professionally persistent is what it is, you know?
And what's the opposite to that, mate? Unprofessionally annoying.
Yeah, unprofessionally annoying would be it. So it's very tasteful in how it's following up with the leads, right? But
Yeah.
it's following up in an informed way. So it's not following up and like just giving candid responses. It's following up using the information that you gave it or that it gathered about that lead before it started communicating with them, right? So that's what
Okay.
makes it powerful. It does that autonomously at scale. And you, once it's trained, you don't have to micromanage it. You get to focus on other areas of your business.
So let's say that you have 1,000 leads coming in. So that fitness business booked 560. Therefore, there's 440 bookings that haven't been booked in. Charlie's following them up continually, professionally, persistently, until they tell you to stop messaging them effectively.
Yep. There's I mean, I can give you, I have that account pulled up. So it's 1,014 leads, 526 bookings, right? It's 75%, 75.15% response rate. And Charlie's booked 69% of the conversations that it's had for a call. It's identified 236 leads that are potentially qualified that it's following up with to try and get them on a call. And it's already disqualified about 100 leads that it doesn't think it's a good use of its time or a good use of the business owner's time to try and pursue.
So how would it disqualify? How is Charlie that intelligent?
So you'd give it your disqualification parameter. So one of the disqualifications for a fitness business offer that a lot of our accounts love is like, how many hours a week are you working?
Of
Right. Somebody's
course,
like,
for income.
Somebody's like, I'm unemployed. Great. Here's some free shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
But it'll disqualify them in a very tasteful way. But it's essentially filtering out who's going to be the best type of lead to schedule a call with your team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Charlie, hey Iggy, thank you so much for sharing that information. Based on that response, I don't think our program is going to be appropriate right now. However, I'd love to send you across some of our free resources that have helped people get amazing results. Something like that.
Yeah.
Then disqualified.
Yep. And then you can add them to those people who are disqualified. You can move them into a long-term nurture, put them into your free Facebook group, put them into an email nurture sequence. Who knows? It might be ready down the line. But Charlie, just based on your qualifications and your criteria, Charlie's determined for you that the person is just not the best use of your calendar appointment
Okay.
slots, right? You can go in
Okay.
there and check. It filters who it's disqualified. So you can go in the back end and double check and make sure, like, hey, did this person really get disqualified or did it make a mistake? Earlier on, it might have made a mistake, but as it starts to get better and better, like you'll find 10 out of 10 times when you go in and look at those DQs, you're like, okay, I'm glad to DQ that person.
Okay. And mate, I saw something on your profile about 3 months ago and it blew me away. A little bit scared too. It was an actual AI phone conversation. So we've
Yeah.
gone from text to potentially outbounding with an AI conversation. How has that come about? And have you got any data or any results from that new avenue of Charlie?
Yeah, we've got some pretty insane stats on that. I mean, it's working across the board. The reason why it works so well is because it's being trained off the same brain architecture, right? So as it's learning off the messaging, it's also learning how to communicate over the phone if you want to enable that on your account, to where it can go and do outbound dials and have intelligent conversations with people, qualify them over the phone and get them booked into your sales team's calendar over the phone. So
That actually blows me away. So just to paint the picture, you've got 1,000 leads inside Go High Level. Charlie can outbound them all at once. Hi Iggy, it's Charlie from Try 180. Just following up a few text messages I sent earlier today. We have some time on my calendar. Are you free for a chat? Like, is it that level of conversation, or is it going into goals, or what? Like, can you run me through an example?
yeah, let me, for those of you guys who are listening, why don't we have I'm gonna give one of our fitness accounts using Charlie a quick call.
Okay.
Let me just give it a call and so you guys can hear it over the phone.
Did you program the voice? Did you choose the voice, or how does that work?
Yeah, so we can you can choose a female persona or a male persona. Like your account manager will kind of walk you through what that looks like on the back end.
Get like Chris Rock or Eddie Murphy, just a really, really great voice on the phone.
I mean, not you can't.
Hi, it's Anna here from Whole and Healthy Living. The reason I'm calling is you had reached out from an ad to get more information about our long-term weight loss program. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, it does.
Great. Before we get started, I just wanted to mention that I apologize if there's a little bit of a delay with my replies. I've been having some technical issues with my phone today, and I want to be respectful of your time.
Okay.
This is an introductory call and should only take about a couple minutes. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you for understanding. So I want to learn a little bit more about your situation. Can you give me an idea of what you are hoping to achieve with your overall health?
That is amazing.
I'm trying to get in shape and get my fat ass in shape. Generally, is what I'm trying to do.
I can hear that you're eager to make a change and take action towards getting in shape. That's a great goal to have. How much weight are you hoping to lose?
I would love to get down like 30 pounds.
You taught her our script.
But essentially, that's kind of how those conversations go, and it's able to have full on like triages with people with high level of success. All right.
That is unbelievable. And that's just going to get better and better and better and better rapidly as it goes through the same learning process that I guess the tech space of Charlie goes through.
Yep. Once that deep learning starts kicking in, you can even kind of hear it using like has like a little typing motion in the background so that it sounds like you're taking notes. And then you can even hear it kind of breathe. Or it's like, like if you're paying attention to those like little nuances, that's what it's learning in real time, like kind of how to mirror what the real person on the other side sounds like, right?
Yeah. I saw Sora AI the other day where it was like 12 months ago, it was like Will Smith spaghetti face and it looked ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And then 12 months later, it was like dog running in the snowfields and it was like 4K.
Yeah.
And just like how quickly it's come is just like staggering.
Absolutely. And that's really the power that you get when you're utilizing technology like this, because people don't learn at that rate. And the beautiful thing and why I really love it is like it learns in real time on its own. And once you teach it something, it forever knows it. Then like
so just to be clear, like that AI voice could dial 1,000 leads at once.
Yeah, it can do 1,000 dials a minute.
Right. So like that fitness business, those 460 leads that didn't book in, it can dial once a day for the next 365 days if you so choose to.
Yep.
Yeah, far out.
Yeah, and then you just set it up to where it's just going through and working through your leads.
So, mate, I guess what do you see as the future of Charlie?
I don't know if I'm getting like echo.
Oh, just bear with me. I think the audio's. Bear with me. One moment, mate. Just 1 second. Just continue, mate. I'll cut this out.
Okay. So essentially, I mean, the future is for it to be a full-on autonomous end-to-end SDR, right? We want it to be the first end-to-end digital conversion assistant. It's not designed to replace humans, but it's really designed to make everyone on your team high value. Right. And that's really like the goal and the ethos of what we're building with the platform is for it to be fully autonomous. You give your leads, works the leads, gets them booked into your calendar, and then it can execute follow-ups on its own. And then by the end of the year, we're going to be introducing like Charlie Nurtures, where it can categorize the leads into different buckets based on their struggles, their challenges, their frustrations. And then you can give it resources around those things, and then they can periodically send them those resources just to check in, right? It's like, hey, Jamie, you said you're struggling with like you're losing weight for your wedding. Iggy created this resource around how to lose your first 5 pounds in 7 days. I thought you might find it helpful. Would you be interested in checking it out? Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. And then it sends them the resource. Then it follows up with them like, hey, just want to follow up. Did you get a chance to check it out? What do you think? So that's coming towards the end of the year. Be out in beta. Working hard on that.
So, mate, I've got one more question. How long do you think it is until the voice AI is as great as having a conversation with a human being to the point where you cannot tell? Like, how far do you think we're away from that?
Probably like 12 months. 12 to 24 months out. Max. Like max.
And then all you're paying for is Twilio, mate. $1,000 a day.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, mate, I want to thank you for your time again today. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to cut that blew me away, the voice AI. So everyone has to see that just to know it's coming already. But mate, all that done for your account should thank you from the bottom of our heart, because without you teaching me the intricate details that go high level, I wouldn't be able to market and sell for 100 gyms. So thank you so much.
Absolutely, man. It's been fun watching how you built that up. I mean, even the business, when we were talking, I think you're like 30 accounts. You said you're like 70.
Yeah, it's gone bananas, mate. So hopefully I will be actually. I'm going to be in Orlando for that next ClickFunnels Awards. I hope I can see you there in person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
We have a
absolutely.
ClickFunnels
We have a
native
ClickFunnels
integration
native
going live
integration
next
going
week.
live next week.
That's good too. All right, mate, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
I'm a man. Take care.
I'm a man. Take care.